highlight the crucial role of truck drivers in the trucking industry and to bring about change in perception within the industry and outside, Tata Motors initiated a concept novel to India. The country's first and only T1 Prima Truck Racing Championship.
When a lot of global companies were coming in, we were looking at ways and means to convince our customers or communicate to our customers that while we are heavily steeped in the Indian market and the Indian tradition, the brand had a lot of capability and could also be looked at as somebody who can match with anybody else who came into the market. So one of the ideas which was touted at that time was the idea of starting truck racing. Now, truck racing is a European concept. It started in Europe 20-25 years ago. And actually, most of the brands which are participating are the big European brands who are coming to India around that time, about 2012-13. At the same time, F1 car racing in India was catching on. So we caught upon this idea of let's look at how we can bring truck racing into India. We got in contact with a partner, Madras Motor Sports Club, who contacted the FIA on our behalf, and soon we found that this is something which was a workable concept. We are still today running it only on our Prima trucks. Why Prima trucks? Because it is world class in technology, and in build it is very similar to the trucks which are raced in the rest of the world.
It's the first homegrown, let's say, activation stroke event of this kind by any corporate worldwide. Okay, any motorsports event is normally run by an association and brought into the. And it's not even an event that has been done similarly across this. It's not something we borrowed. It is something that we set up from scratch. So we started with a blank sheet of paper. We knew where we were headed towards it, and we started building it block by block. Okay, so obviously the challenges were many and the journey was, let's say, not impossible, but it was interesting. For example, we were clear that we wanted global accreditation for the event because we are a global player. Tata Motors is not just a domestic player. Okay, so there we were sure that we would need FIA approval. So the rigor of getting an FIA approval, which is not very easy. Second is, if you wanted to make it a global event, you need a global track. Now, how do you convince a BIC to allow trucks on the road? It's a 2,000 crore investment, which is made for F1. Those cars weigh 700 kilos. These trucks weigh 7 tons.
In close conjunction with the Racing Championship, Tata Motors runs a comprehensive training and selection initiative, the T1 Racer Program, TRP. The company partnered with some of the leading names in motorsports to build the program.
Tata Racer Program is a unique driver development initiative which brings together 200 drivers who earn their livelihood by bringing day-to-day essentials to the country. And our program is not didactic, it's not instructional, it's more interactive. We develop relationships with those drivers. The mentors have strong bonds with their students. These mentors, instructors, coaches are fiercely competitive racers themselves. They have fought hard battles on the racetrack. And they've used a certain set of, shall we say, competitive secrets that they closely guard to themselves. And this program now forces them or requires them to share those insights that they have honed over the years freely, generously with these truck drivers to bring them to the level of a racer on a track.
The training program, designed by MoMA, consists of 4 levels of training and elimination.
We went about it in a very systematic manner, first starting with a classroom training where we familiarized them with the concepts of racing on a track and providing them those basic inputs. The second was around a more intensive driving on the Prima truck itself. Like I said, they were not experienced with driving the Prima truck, so we put them on a Prima truck, taught them on how to drive the truck as effectively. And the third was around preparing them for the the rigor of a race. Okay, now you can imagine when somebody is on the racetrack, immediately the pulse rate would go up. Okay, and they need to be really physically and mentally very fit. So there was a very intense, rigorous training program on building their physical and mental strength.
So this year we will have this super class. It's picking up from the beginners. What I said was 3,380 people. After that we had thorough screening process. These people went for various checks. What are the basic, racing qualifications we should have, and we picked up about 190 from there. They have gone through a rigorous training process on the racing event particularly, and from there finally 24 will be picked up. Who would be then in the semi-final going through this a day before, and finally around 10 would be racing. So that's the super class racing program.
One was around the age of the driver himself, his experience, the fact that he's driven across various terrains in the country, the trucks, his experience with the Prima tractor, if he has driven that Prima tractor, then his record as a safe driver. It's important that we have somebody who's really physically and mentally really strong. So we needed to kind of put some of these tests, make them go through some of these tests, and that is how we shortlisted the drivers.
The TRP training structure has been designed uniquely as truck drivers have no previous exposure to racetrack driving. Nominations include those who have a multi-axle vehicle or Prima experience. Many have no formal education. Hence, the course material has been designed to make it driver-friendly. This acts as a catalyst to induct drivers into the commercial vehicle profession.
Together with the team at Tata Motors, we sort of came up with this idea from the road to the racetrack story. And in the end, we've got these really emotional stories.
These guys drive days and days, endless number of miles across the country. You guys are the experts on highways. None of us can do what you do, but you guys can't do what we can on the circuit.
Training these people who drive trucks on the highway and training them, at first I thought it should be really difficult, but then when I got here and when we interacted with these people, it seems like, most of them, I would say about 80% of them, are actually very good learners, and if we teach them the right way, the right things, I believe they should be doing something really good.
Every sport and every spectacle produces heroes, and those of us in motorsport know a lot about heroes who are outside India. Let's create an Indian hero in the sport of truck racing.
There is not a single driver development program globally that's as comprehensive as the T1 Prima Racers program. There is nothing that anywhere comes close to this. Okay, and this I will say with certainty, not with I think. This is with absolute certainty. It's the best program in the world to train drivers.
The initiative has received much appreciation.
This is going to give a whole new platform to the drivers and a whole new outlook to where they can be in future to the drivers. And this is just not a program, it's a revolution for the drivers.
Finally brings back that pedestal that the drivers can stand on and can aspire towards. And it makes the driving profession cool again, which is so important for anything that any of us do. To feel important, to get that respect from their from their society and from their peers. So the event goes a long way in doing that and motivating drivers to take up driving as a profession.
This program has given a boost to them in terms of their being upgraded.
And this is a very good initiative of Tata Motors, because Tata Motors have actually created a ripple in the market. The heavy vehicles racing is unheard of in India. Though it is there worldwide, in some European countries and in America, I think it is there already. But having it in India was really a great thing.
This will make the driver's job very respectable. So it is a very great initiative by Tata Motors. I must congratulate them on this.
इससे तो खैर बहुत ज़्यादा ही फ़र्क है. पहले ड्राइवर हमारा इतना नहीं सोचते भी नहीं था कि हम रेस में जाएंगे, और जो इंडियन ड्राइवर था, और पहला जब इंडियन ड्राइवर टाटा मोटर ने रेस कराया,
और हमारी कंपनी उसमें सेलेक्ट हुई तो हमारे लिए भी गौरव की बात थी कि मैं भी इस रेस पे शामिल हूँ। और जिससे ड्राइवर में भी बहुत अच्छा फीडबैक गया कि सभी ड्राइवर जो पहले नहीं जानते भी नहीं थे कि रेस क्या होता है, जिन्होंने टाटा मोटर ने इसको आगे रखा और जिससे वो लोग भी आज सोचते हैं कि हम भी वहाँ पे पहुँच सकते हैं। इसका तो बहुत ही ज़्यादा ड्राइवर में इफेक्ट आया है।
ये एक टाटा मोटर्स ने उसे ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म दिया है कि जहाँ उसको उसकी वर्थ पता लगती है, वैल्यू पता लगती है और उसको खुद की वैल्यू पता लगती है कि मैं भी कुछ हूँ।
This employment is being more recognized. It has given lot more respectability, and it has also given a lot more structure. So companies like us who are employing them have also become far more responsible. We've been offering much better wages to these people, and we also recognize the kind of a hard work they put in. And because of this change, I think they have also become far more responsible in accepting that, okay, this is a employment opportunity which we can pursue, and probably we will ask our children also to pursue if it works for us.
As all stakeholders gear up for race day at the Budh International Circuit, it's exciting to see how the Prima truck has held in good stead against the rigors of an international standard F1 racetrack. At the same time, staying true to its reputation as a pioneer, Tata Motors T1 Racer program goes a long way towards turning the spotlight on Indian truck drivers. As the company brings in Season 4 of the T1 Prima Truck Racing Championship, with its theme Junoon-e Trucking, things are set to get bigger and faster.